Okay, so hi everyone. This is my first video that I've done in a long time. I stopped doing videos because my life is so busy and I'm taking care of 3 kids. I got 3 dogs and I'm just constantly on the go. And at night when it's time to go to bed, I just want to go to bed. But tonight I'm motivated to stay up and do this video. I feel it's very important to get this out to you all while it's fresh because I just feel like it's people out there who need to hear this. And the message that I want to bring to you all is not to go against yourself. Not to go when you go against yourself, you're going against God. Okay? God is you, and God has structured you in a way where the way that God communicates with you is through the first mind. First mind. And the first feeling. First feeling. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say the first feeling first. The first feeling that you get. And then after the feeling, you get a thought. And then after that thought, there's other thoughts that come in and try to mess you up from the feeling that made you get the first thought. Okay, I hope you followed me on that. All right. So, like, let me give you an example of what that means. Say, somebody comes up to you and tells you a good friend of yours or whatever, or just someone you like and admire comes up to you and asks you to borrow $50. This is just a real lame example that I'm going to give you. And you know this person is good for paying you back, but you don't really want to loan. The first feeling you get is don't loan it to them because it's your last $50 that you have. The second feeling you get is, but this person always pays me back, and I know they're going to pay me back when they say they're going to pay me back. So you loan them the $50. So you ignore the first feeling, which was, I don't think I should depart with this $50. And then the thought came in. The first thought that came in to override that feeling was, it's okay to give them $50 because they always pay back. So the third thing is you rationalize. Oh, yeah, let me just go on ahead and give it to her. She always pays back. I'm going to go ahead and loan her the $50. So by the time you loan her the $50, you may have forgot the first feeling that you had. That's dissolved. That's gone off into the background. So you loan your friend the $50 who always pays you back. It was your last $50. But she says she's going to give it back to you tomorrow. So you figure if she gives it back to you tomorrow, like she says she's going to do, you'll be okay. Tomorrow comes, she calls you up and tells you she can't give you back the $50. So you ask her, when is she going to give it back to you? And she tells you she has to give it back to you actually next week. So now your last $50, you don't have it. You need gas in your car. You need to buy you some food to get by for the week. And you called yourself helping her out because she's nice and she always usually pays you back. Her being nice and usually paying you back has nothing to do with it, though. See, your first feeling said, I need my $50. I shouldn't loan this out. This is my last $50. That's your first feeling. That you finna mess up your security. You finna take away the only security that you got right now to get you through to next payday. That's the reason why the feeling came up. That's why you have to abide by the feeling. Okay, which is actually the telepathic way that your body is speaking to you without using words, telling you what's right and what is wrong, what you should do and what you should not do. And we go against that. So when we go against that feeling, we go against God. And God is you. So you're going against yourself. And so this is something that I've been having a challenge with throughout my life because I have, in my chart, I have Moon square Neptune. And my life path is also a 6. Sixes are self-sacrificing. And whenever you have a planet aspect in the moon, you do things without realizing that you did it to after it's done. That's why Neptune, they say that Neptune, you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see anything until the fog lifts. The fog, what you're seeing right now is the fog, or you're seeing the roses through the rose-colored lenses. And then once you take the rose-colored lenses off, the reality hits. Same thing with the fog. Once the fog lifts, the distortion that you thought was beautiful behind that fog, once it lifts, the reality of it is it's a hot mess. And so I want to share this with you all out there because I feel like, I know it's a lot of people out there like me, especially with social media and the perceptions that we're getting through social media and the perceptions that we're getting through the reality TV shows. We are being dumbed down by these things without realizing that we're being dumbed down. The reason why we don't realize it is because we don't have the awareness um, of how important the feeling is. We've been taught not to even feel. We've been taught to ignore our feelings. That if you in your feelings, something is wrong with you. If you're too emotional or you're sensitive, something's wrong with you. It's not the emotion or the feeling that is something's wrong with. It's how we handle it. It's how we project it. You're supposed to, when people are secure with their feelings and secure with their emotions, they're not all over the place. They're not screaming. They're not yelling. They're not, tearing people down. They're not, um, you know, feeling all insecure about what other people might think. When you're in tune with your emotions and your feelings, you are the coolest person that anyone can be. So I just wanted to share with you that when you go against yourself, you are your own worst enemy. You are the one who's bringing yourself down. And whether you're doing it intentionally or unintentionally. What I mean by unintentionally is whether you're doing it not being aware of it, or you are aware of it. Either way, you're screwing yourself up. But when you know the source of the reason why you do what you do, which is lack of awareness, I feel, um, then you just tend to keep it. It turns into a pattern, and you just keep on doing it. And I don't think anybody wants to hurt themselves. I don't think anybody really wants to bring themselves down. I don't think there's one person out there that enjoys, screwing up all the time, or enjoys making the bad choices and the choices messing them up. And if you're a really good person, you don't want your choices messing you up or messing anybody else up, like myself. I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't want to hurt myself. But when you know better, you do better. And so my friend who I was talking to today about an incident that took place with me extending myself to somebody that initially I did not want to extend myself to, this individual. And then the feeling was, nah, you better leave that alone. Just don't even do that. That was the first feeling. And then the thought that came in to override the feeling was, but this person is nice. They've always been very respectful to you. They've always respected you. They've, never given you any reason to not want to participate in having them around you or whatever. Go on ahead, be nice. And then I did that, and then it was just all bad. It just was all bad. It went from the person not ever respecting me, not ever disrespecting me, to the person disrespecting me. Okay, been knowing this individual for years and never had a problem with them until I went against myself. And so what it comes down to at the end of the day is you can't blame anybody for what goes on with you. You can only blame yourself. At the end of the day, it's all about you. It's all about you. You can't say, oh, this person did this and this person did that to me. Because we all have that feeling. We all have that first feeling. We all have that feeling that tells us when we should go along with something and when we should not go along with something. And we choose to ignore it. I feel, for me, I was trained to ignore it. Being an older sibling and having to look out for the younger ones and always having to put myself last anyway. And having parents who, did the best they could as parents, but they still had a lot of growing up to do themselves. So I had to figure out a lot of things the hard way. I had to learn a lot of things on my own. And I didn't really have people that I could talk to that could give me the wisdom. And knowing myself, I probably would have listened no way. I'm one of them people who had to learn the hard way anyway, because after realizing that I really couldn't get the guidance from the people that I really wanted it from, which is my parents, I kind of rebelled against getting it from anybody else. Yeah, I did. I kind of rebelled against getting it from anybody else. And I just really didn't trust anybody. You can't trust that your parents' advice is going to be good for you. Who can you trust? So my situations in my life went the way they went because that was the way they're supposed to go. But I also feel that there's always those magical words or something magical that someone can say to you right at the time when you need it to be said to you. Like my friend said to me, which was, when we go against ourselves, we create the problem. And she said, it was like She said that at a perfect sequential time. And so my hope is that me doing this video is going to be like magic words at the perfect time if someone needs that right word to be said, or that right, what's the word for it? Sequence. What's the word for it? Synchronicity. When synchronicity is happening for that person, and my words come across the screen to them, and everything falls into place for them, and they just wake up. They just wake up and they say, "Dang, that's all. That's what I've been waiting for all these years. I've been waiting to hear that all these years, so that I can stop repeating these patterns, so I can stop falling for the Neptune illusion, so I can stop getting tested on the same things over and over again that I've been getting tested on over and over again. And because I keep failing the test, the universe keeps giving me the test again, but switching the answers around so that I can be truly tested. Because if I'm getting the answers in the same place, all I'm doing is remembering where the answers are, but I'm not really passing the test, because anybody can remember an answer. But do you know how you got to that answer? Do you know how to derive at that answer? I know you remember when you were in elementary school and you were taking math and you learned how to subtract, and well, I think we learned how to add first. Yeah, they trick you up. They don't teach. They should actually teach us to subtract first, I think, instead of adding first, because adding is easier than subtracting. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Well, for me, adding was easier than subtracting because I learned how to add first. So once they said started subtracting on me, I'm like, damn, I just got to get used to adding. Now you want me to start subtracting? I like adding much better. It's much easier. But every time you get well on one area, now it's time for you to leave that alone and start getting well on another area. And then once you get well on that and master that, you go on to something else. But if you don't master one first, you're not going to get to the next level. And so you're going to have to keep repeating the same test over and over. The universe comes to us, and Saturn is the representation of being tested. Saturn is the chastiser. Okay, I have Saturn in the first house. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I was also, once I couldn't get what I needed to get from my parents, I just had to go out on my own, learn on my own, because I had Saturn in the first house. So it's like I had to teach myself. I had to chastise myself. And Saturn is ruler of time. It's the great time master. So it doesn't care if it takes a lifetime for you to get the lessons. It's going to keep on giving you testing you over and over again till you get it right. Till you get it right. And you're going to feel like, damn, I feel like I'm just getting clobbered upside the head. I feel like I just can't get, I just feel like I ain't never grew up. I'm still a child, because Saturn just keep on coming at me. And some people just say life keep coming at them because they don't know about Saturn. They don't know about the universe giving them tests over and over through Saturn. And then Saturn rules that aspect of our life that tests us. And then Neptune, everybody's in a big, huge Neptune fog right now because of social media and because of reality shows and because of these video games. Everybody's under a spell. Neptune spell is what I call it. And Neptune rules movies, it rules drugs, it rules institutions like, asylums and hospitals and prisons. And so a lot of us are imprisoned by that which is not real. And we think what is real is fake, and what is fake is real. And the reason why we can't cut through it is this situation of not knowing the difference between the two is because we've been dumbed down and we've been taught to go against our feelings. Because like I said, if you're in your feelings, people are, you in your feelings. You're like, it's a bad thing to be in your feelings, or you too emotional, you too sensitive, you too, your emotions and your feelings is making me uncomfortable. Therefore, I must make you uncomfortable about your feelings and emotions. And so, you have to stay true to what you feel. You have to stay as long as you stay true to that, you will always pass the test that Saturn gives you. As long as you stay true to that, you will not fall under the spell of Neptune. You will not fall under that spell. And so I just wanted to share that with people because um, it was really an eye opener for me when my friend said to me, when we go against ourselves, that's when the problem comes into play. And she and I have talked about this so many times, going against yourself, going against yourself, going against yourself. But it just never, it didn't click for me. It didn't click for me because although we were talking about it, there was no significant incidents in my life that that occurred right at the time that she said these things, said this to me, and made it all come together. You know, it's like when you're learning something, right, in school or with your family, or whatever, and they tell you something, and it doesn't click for you, but whatever they told you subconsciously, you knew it was something to it, although you just didn't get it right now. So what happens was you let it, what they tell you, become like a seed. You let it get placed down in you. And then as you go on through life, and the life waters the seed, then when the seed starts growing, the lights come on and you start to get it. Now you get it. You didn't get it years ago, but you get it now. So that's what happened with my friend. We were talking about not going against yourself. We always talked about it. But it just didn't solidify for me until a recent incident happened, and she and I was talking about it, and then she brought that up. So it clicked for me. Damn, that's what I haven't been getting all this time. So don't go against yourself. Don't ignore your first feeling. I don't care if it's for the nicest person in the world. If you don't do it, don't do it. I had to learn this the hard way. I'm a life path 6. Google it. That's the reason why I got 3 kids right now that I'm taking care of. I had 1 biologically, and I turned around to take care of 3 more. And then I got 3 dogs. I love the kids. I love the dogs. But it's hard. It's rough. I would have did things a lot differently, knowing what I know now about the circumstances in my life. I would have did things like I would have did the same thing again. You know, took the kids and took the dogs, but I just would have did it a lot differently. I would have did it I would have prepared myself more. I wouldn't have just jumped into it. So like if you get a feeling that's telling you don't do it, or you're getting a feeling that's telling you do it, but examine that, because sometimes you get that feeling that doesn't give you the gut wrench. Like if you get the feeling that gives you a gut wrench and it makes you, and it's like for me, when I get a feeling that's not right, the feeling that comes on my face is this. That's the feeling, and I didn't even realize I was doing it at first until I just really started paying more attention to myself. I'm like, well, damn, when I get that feeling, is the look that comes on my face is, and then the next look that comes on my face is, well, I could if I did this. And then from there, the first feeling just goes out the window and it dissolves. And by the time I realized that I had that feeling, I remember that I had that feeling, the damage has already been done. So no matter how good you want to be, the first person to be good to is yourself. First person, hold on a second, hold on. Get my water. My water fell on the floor. The first person to be good to is yourself. Always be good to yourself first. Love yourself first. Because if you screwed up, everything that you intend to do for other people is not gonna get done. Because you jacked up now. You can't help nobody else jacked up. So do not inconvenience yourself. Do not go against that first feeling. When you do that, you're going against yourself, and when you go against yourself, you're going against God. Because God is that first feeling. And God is you. And so when you go against the first feeling, you're going against yourself. And you can mess yourself up. The only person that can take, the only force that can take God out is God's self. I don't want to say it, so I'm going to say God's self. So the only person that can take you out is you. And because I've been the only person that's been, bringing harm to myself since I became responsible for myself, and that's been around probably the age 14. And it's because I didn't have parents who had the capacity to give me what I needed to send me out in the world with. So I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And then, I had people that I could, with me having Saturn in the first house, born Saturn in the first house, I had to be my own teacher. I had to chastise myself. Ever since I can remember, I have always been on the path of trying to improve myself. It's been my journey. Self-improvement. And I've improved in a lot of ways, but it's some patterns that it hurts me. That some of the things that I've had to repeat over and over and over again. I'm embarrassed of a lot of things that I've had to repeat over and over again. And so I just hope that anyone who's watching this video will get it at the right time in their life, and it'll click for them. And I hope, like, by chance, that somebody can just hear it for the first time and just avoid having to wait for that click. And some people get it right away. Some people get it right away, but a lot of us don't get it right away because we've been dumbed down. And that's what happened to me, because I was born intuitive. I was born telepathic. I was born that way. And when I share these things with my parents, my mother particularly, she didn't believe me. And when I would try to talk to her about things, that's going on in the world, or religion particularly, talk to her about that, the type of answers that she gave me just didn't resonate. It just didn't feel right to me. It never felt right for me. The answers that my mother gave me, she did her best. She did her best that she knew to do, but it just didn't work for me. So I had to strike out and learn things the hard way. And I'm very grateful for the people in my life who have come along, and I've had a chance to powwow with them. I've had a chance to converse with them on all those things that I just couldn't talk to people that was close to me about, like family members, because I'm just on another level from them. Totally different level. I'm into astrology. I'm into numerology. These are not things that my people in my family are into. None of them. But on some level they believe in it, because they'll come to me and they'll ask me questions. But they just don't want to get too deep into it because they think it's too much work. But it's more work not knowing these things. I wish I had had astrology in my life and numerology in my life from babyhood. I would be out of this world. I would be, blinking my eyes and mountains would be moving. But it is what it is. Some of us have to take the baby steps now in order so that the people who come after us can take the giant steps. And so that maybe that's my place. I don't know. But on this note, I'm going to end the video. If you have any thoughts about this video, leave your comments at the bottom. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I'm going to close out. On that note. My next video is going to be about Neptune. And it's going to be, I did one about Neptune a long time ago, but I was supposed to do a part 2 and I didn't. So I want to go further into Neptune, because a lot of people are under spells right now, under some serious spells. And it needs to be talked about. It needs to be discussed, because it ain't no joke being under a spell. It puts you into like I said, Neptune rules institutions. It rules. Did I say it in this video, or did I say it in the other one that I did not want to post? I said a lot of things in my first video. I'm trying to say them again in this video, because that video I didn't want to post that one, so I'm trying to say them again. So in case I didn't mention Neptune, I'm going to mention it right now. Neptune rules institutions, and it rules drugs. And the institutions that it rules is prisons, crazy homes, hospitals, asylums, churches, institutions, period. Neptune rules that. And these institutions are the places that we go to when society just wants to throw us away. We've been dumbed down by society, and now we have to be in these places. Or when we have been devalued and society wants to put us in these places. Okay? or Neptune rules the 12th house of subconscious mind. So that's an institution. You can be imprisoned in the subconscious mind, and a lot of people who sound crazy and be on the streets talking to themselves, that stuff they talking about is coming. It sounds crazy because it's coming from the subconscious. It's a collection of other people's thoughts that these people are talking about. These people that we think are crazy. So I think that I'm going to expound on that in my next video. And on that note, I'm going to close out now. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something from it. I hope you got something from it. And I'll see you in the next video.